Yeah, I just finished loading up all the Advent boxes. And so I've done some heavy lifting for the last few hours. So I've been looking forward to this can of beer.
I hear you. I ended up with the Citra because when David ordered it for me, the Pilsner was out. So
yeah, I just hadn't updated the website properly. So
that's okay.
That's my bad.
Anyways, cheers. Well, everybody, welcome back to Beers with Bill. It's my pleasure to welcome Marc from Sidewalk Cafe back to the show. Marc, welcome back to Beers with Bill.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So Sonnenhill Hill, the Pilsner to start with.
Yeah. Just super crisp, refreshing, simple Pilsner. I love most of the beers from Sonnenhill. When I think about just clean, refreshing beers, they're one of the top places that comes to mind for me. So always happy to share this brewery with people.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hosting them sometime on the show. They were just way too busy in the fall when I talked to them. So
yeah, Callum, their brewery, he's a pretty quiet guy.
Yeah,
but super nice and super passionate about his craft.
So you've been working on getting the Advent boxes together for Christmas.
Yeah. So they're all boxed up now. It's we put them on sale in October, so I've had a month and a half to kind of get them all ready. But the day before people come to pick them up is always crunch time because I like to keep everything cold. And so the day before I kind of bust them out and throw them in the boxes. And yeah.
I hear you on that because you are all about fresh beer, right?
Yeah.
So now that the cafe has been open, what's it been like for you?
Yeah, it's different, right? So I'm sure a lot of you were here the last time I was on when we were basically just operating as a sliding window right onto the street. So I'd say it was Halloween weekend where we reopened, inside. And so we've got a few weeks under our belt now with people actually kind of coming in. And it's been fine and good. I mean, we're busy, but I do miss the window. I was having a lot of fun with that. I don't see as many dogs now, which I am sad about. But I had to kind of get back to this at some point. So here we are.
Well, I was in. You weren't there. I was in a couple of times. My wife and I have gone to the Princess Cinema and stopped in and had lunch or something to eat before we went into the show.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, it's and now the cinema. So we're attached. For those that don't know, we're attached to the Princess Cinema. It's like a little independent movie theater, and they are operating back at full capacity now as well. So yeah, a lot of people are stopping in here before and after the movies for sandwiches or beers, coffee, stuff like that.
I miss the soup, so I will have to admit that.
Oh, I've been rocking the soups again. Yeah. So we're full on making soups again, and they're great. I love making soup.
Yep. Well, my wife and I always enjoyed the soups that you had, that's for sure.
Thank you so much.
So looking over the last year or so, is there anything you would have done differently with Sidewalk?
That's a good question. I think that I have all these ideas of things that I want to do with it, or just I have an idea to I should do this event, or I should do this little project or whatever. And then because it's mostly just me doing everything, a lot of the time these ideas don't actually turn into anything. They're just ideas. And so I think if I had done something differently, it would have been actually just taking on some of the ideas that I've had rather than just kind of like going through the day to day trying to keep up with everything, you know? It's hard to just like step back and make some things actually happen sometimes. Because I'm the boss, I guess, I really have no responsibility to do anything that I don't feel like fits into my day, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, but being the boss and going through what we've gone through in the last year and a bit, just surviving through it's been probably hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had this cafe here for over 10 years now. And the first, 2-3 years that I had it, I was working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. And I feel like when the pandemic hit, I kind of like went back to working like I was when I was a brand new business owner, you know? It's like, oh, here we go again. Just got to put in the work again now, you know? So yeah, it's been a lot of work since the pandemic.
So what's, in your opinion, been the most interesting beer you've had at Sidewalk in the last year?
I think that like the slushies that Third Moon make, those like super heavily fruited sour beers are like just unlike anything that I had in Ontario before. So I think those are very cool. They've been doing those for a while now, so I don't know if that's probably they've been doing those for over a year now at this point, but those ones just instantly come to mind because they're so out there. Yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind.
Okay. Troy's curious, now that we had the bottle shop for a while and things have started to reopen, are you going to trim back the selection, or you found a proper balance for the bottle shop?
I'm still kind of working on that side of things. I'm curious to see how things go now that we've like opened up inside, right? So I'm giving that a little bit of time to see what kind of things I should be stocking. Basically, when we were at the window, you can see these fridges behind me here, right? There was always like one of these fridges, I would say half of it was just like backup and stuff. And I would just store things in it and it was kind of out of sight. But now that these are the first thing you see when you come in, it's like I need them to be fully stocked. So I'm trying to figure out the balance between like, oh, maybe I put like 2 rows of each beer, or maybe I just buy extra beer to fill the fridge. So I'm honestly still like, I'm still trying to figure out that balance. Yeah.
Now, I have a pretty good idea from working at Kickoff how many different beers would be in the fridges right now, but how many different beers would you have in the fridge right now?
I'd say probably about 80 or so right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
How do you keep that organized?
That's another good question, because when I was doing the window, I just knew where everything was. No one had to help themselves. So if I could just like talk about anything, you know, and know where it was and pull it out. But now that people kind of do their own shopping, I was faced with the decision of like, how do I display this for customers? And so I put a poll up on our Instagram account and I was like, would you like to see it organized by beer style or by brewery? I know for me personally, I would like it to be organized by brewery. So if I came in, I would see like, oh, damn, there's Tooth and Nail. That's what I want to drink. And I could see all the beers they have. But then I think that like I am also the type of person that needs the least help when looking for beer in a beer store, as I would imagine a lot of you are, right? You kind of know what you want. So I think by brewery makes sense in that way. But if I'm trying to appeal to people who don't know as much about beer, but maybe they know they like a sour beer, then rather than having to, you know, read through every can on the fridge because it's organized by brewery, they can sort of see, okay, this is where the sour beers are, and they can just look through that section. So right now it is mostly broken down by like beer style. I don't know. I forget what the question was, and I just started.
No, you were actually answering the question.
Okay.
I was just thinking, oh yeah, next beer style in alphabetical order would be quite the complex problem.
I do wish that I could just do it by brewery. To me, that's the best way. But I feel like that will alienate people who I like want. I want people who don't know about beer to be getting into it, right? And so to make the barrier as, just make it as easy as possible for people who don't know as much as we would, I think was, I don't know. That's why I went with that.
That's good. Get a couple of questions from the people that tuned in. Mike's curious, have you tried every beer that you have sold out of Sidewalk?
I did for the first really good bit of time. I can't justify it with some items. I mean, if I'm buying like bottles of stout that cost me $16 and I'm selling them for $20, then if I drink one, I'm not going to make any money on the case, you know? So occasionally I don't drink the beers. I'd say most of them I do. If deliveries ever show up here, like I'm cracking the cans right away with the staff, and you know, we'll split a can 4 ways and we'll talk about it. That way everyone who's working is getting to taste stuff. We're getting to talk about it. If they like it, that can be something they can suggest to customers. If they, a lot of the staff is really young too, so we're kind of just like developing their palates and stuff as well. So we do drink most of the beer that comes through.
I would think so.
You wouldn't recognize me if you saw me pre-pandemic. I'm a whole new man now.
I can well imagine. I was going to say you'd have to have your staff try the beer because they've got to talk intelligently about it to sell it, especially when you've got that many different beers in the fridge.
Yeah.
So, Sean's curious, when you get beer from a brewer, are you setting a certain amount that you get, or is it just whatever you feel like bringing in?
Yeah, it's I only order what I want in quantities that I ask for. Basically, it would be like I would get a case or 2 or 3. It would always be like a minimum of a case of any beer that I bring in. But sometimes I'll bring in much more than that, depending on what it is.
So when you're ordering from a single brewer, you ordering like one type of beer, or you ordering multiple styles from them?
Oh yeah, that like completely depends on the brewery. So I'd say like a place like Sonnet Hill that we're drinking right now, anytime he puts out a new can, typically it's like a lager or a pilsner. Anytime they put one out, I'm like, okay, I'll have a case of that. And then odds are, if I'm ordering a case from them, I'll be like, oh, throw some Saison on the order, because they do like large format Saison bottles. I really like to have those in the fridge, and I think they're amazing. So sometimes, depending on the brewery, I'll kind of like add on and get extra things. If I like know and trust them as brewers, I would not be ordering multiple different types of beer from breweries that I think aren't excelling at certain styles, right? Like if there's a brewery I think that makes really good lagers and then they put out an IPA, I probably won't get the IPA because there's other people making amazing IPAs and I probably wouldn't think that one would be very good. So yeah, it all depends on the brewery, but
I hear you on that. Which beer are we going to go to next, Mark?
Oh, someone else can choose. What do you guys want? Jen, what are you looking at there? What do you want? Yeah, Blood Buddies? Yeah, let's drink that. This beer I really like. Did most of you manage to get some of it? Did you guys get it? Yeah? Sweet. Slate Brewing, Prince Edward County. If you haven't seen like their brewery, check it out. It's like, I haven't been yet, but it's on my list of places to visit as soon as possible. It's this like picturesque brewery in Prince Edward County, just like overlooking some hills. You know, it's like really pretty. And they are focusing a lot on Ontario ingredients. So a lot of their stuff comes locally. And they do a lot of like Pilsner, lager, stuff like that. Some like, when they first opened, which was around a year ago, they put out like a table beer was one of their first releases. And I was like, I'm very into that. A lot of breweries don't open up with just like a very unpopular style of beers. This one's a collaboration with Blood Brothers in Toronto. It's just like super refreshing, I think. Yeah, it's kind of the theme of the night so far.
That is very refreshing. So tell me, what do you see that's new and exciting in the industry right now?
I don't know. I think that like it's cool to see all these like fun collaborations with breweries that aren't around here. So just like you know, recently you've seen stuff from like Badlands and Third Moon and other places where they'll do collaborations with breweries in Quebec, like breweries that are great, like that we just, you know, unless you know someone that's going there or you're doing beer trades or whatever, it's like you're not often getting beers from some of these breweries like Masorum and Brewski or Saint-Baron. So there's like lots of cool Quebec breweries that are kind of like creeping into Ontario and doing collaborations with other breweries that I like in Ontario. So I think that's really fun. I think that the last like year and a bit, we've been seeing a ton of collaborations between breweries. And I know it's not like, that's not super new, but I just feel like people in the industry, like brewers and breweries, are like really trying to support each other and build each other up and work together to, you know, make some stuff that's fun and interesting. So I think that's kind of something that I've been noticing lately that I'm into.
So last time you and I chatted, you had just done that release with Third Moon. Have you done other collabs since then?
Yeah, we did a collab with Rob at Short Finger. We made like an iced tea lemonade beer. It's basically, I wanted to make like a beer that was like an Arnold Palmer, which is, again, like this beer, super refreshing. So that was like a summertime idea that I had. And then Rob went silly with it. It ended up calling it Donald Palmer's Texas Tea. And it was just like a little like mixed fermentation sour beer with black tea and like lemon. And it was really tasty. And yeah, I was really happy to do it. I love Rob and I love Short Finger. And we had a fun day. We brewed the beer and drank lambic and hung out. It was great.
It's always fun to brew beer with Rob.
Yeah. Have you done one recently?
No, I haven't. Him and I haven't connected lately. I've sent him a couple of messages, but I know he's been really busy. And Mabel just had her first birthday, and so that, yeah. I think what I'll do is approach Kat and see if I can do a collab with her. That'll get Rob's attention.
Yeah, you should. Well, actually, one of the beers I have on the list tonight, Fortitude from Tooth and Nail, that's Kat's favorite beer.
Yeah.
At least that's what she's told me. I don't know if she wants me to state that publicly or not, but she has told me it's her favorite.
Yeah. So what's next for Sidewalk or Princess Cafe?
I don't know. Like it's been like 3 weeks since we opened up inside, right? So right now I'm just like feeling it out. I don't know what's next. I've just like, we've got these advent boxes. I'm going to fire those out this week, and then December is going to be here. And then hopefully people think to come buy their beer here. And then the new year is going to be here. And then, I don't know, probably be slow. I imagine like January is typically a slow month in the industry. I don't have any big plans to take over the world or anything like that. I am still toying with the idea of separating the cafe and the bottle shop. And so keeping the cafe as like just the cafe, and then turning we have an additional room across the hall. It's called our annex space. So I sort of fantasize about turning that into the bottle shop, and then just like sitting around on a computer like this all day and talking about beer with people and not having to do anything else. But I don't know if the cafe, I don't know if I can like separate the two like that just yet. But that is something that's kind of in my brain.
Okay. And of course, the other question is going to be, what's next for Mark?
Yeah, what's next for me? I don't know. What do you guys think? Fortitude or Bone Tree? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, basically, like I work a lot. I don't think too far into the future or what's next for me. I kind of just take things a day at a time. Yeah, and then I feel like I can't say an answer to that because I don't know. I truthfully don't know. And my wheels are turning all the time, but there's no plan, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the next personal question, which is, what would I find on your playlist right now?
A lot of like gangster rap, a lot of Griselda, Czarface, and then sort of like some more instrumentally focused stuff. I don't know, Bad, Not Good, and Thundercat. I listen to a lot of Sun Ra and Frank Zappa. Yeah.
It's a shame that Derek unfortunately couldn't make it tonight, because he'd probably be having a conversation with you now.
Well, he's at a concert tonight.
Yes, I know.
Which is almost unfathomable. I haven't been to a concert in, I don't know how long.
It's been almost 2 years at least, eh?
Yeah, what are you listening to?
To me?
Yeah.
Whatever my granddaughter or grandson decides is the music that Grandpa needs to hear at that moment.
Okay.
And then apart from that, my wife and I the other day, if you want to have a laugh, was Daniel Barenbaum conducting the Berlin Youth Symphony.
Ah.
So I have a very eclectic taste in music because I will listen to gangsta, I will listen to punk rock, early punk rock particularly. There's a half a dozen rap artists that I'll listen to, and if I'm traveling by myself any distance, I will have Beethoven's complete set of concertos, all 24 CDs.
Yeah. Oh, that's all. I love listening to classical music.
Yeah.
I don't do it that often. I like to think that if I put it on at home, that I'm being a good dad and my kids are going to be geniuses. That's how it works, right? Your kids automatically become geniuses if you play classical music at home.
Yeah. Yes. It may work that way. I'm not 100% certain it does.
Yeah.
So Jen has a curious question, and that's how do you decide what breweries to stock?
Oh, great question. I just, every now and then I get excited about something maybe new that I haven't tried before, but it's mostly just like breweries that I really like and that I know just like pay attention to things, and they use quality ingredients. They care about what they're doing. And so that's it. I mean, I sort of feel like I've got, you know, a list of maybe like 20 breweries that I'm like, yes, I want to get your beer all the time. And then other breweries I'll kind of take a chance on. And so it's tough for me because maybe sometimes I feel like I'm just kind of getting new stuff from the same breweries all the time, but true, like I am just buying beers that I am interested in or that I want to drink. I'm never really, when I'm buying beer for the shop, I'm never really thinking like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money on this, you know? I'm mostly just thinking, this is awesome beer that I want people to have access to and that they might not otherwise. So the curation in the shop is largely based on like what I want to drink from breweries that I know and trust. And then occasionally new spots will sneak in there.
Talk to me a little bit about Bone Tree, because that seems to be what people want to go to next.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to grab one. I'll be right back. Sorry, I want to get a glass for this one. I'll be right back. Okay. Bone Tree. So, you know, I was just talking about breweries that I know and trust and enjoy. Third Moon is like right there for me. Always kind of making consistently delicious beer. And so Bone Tree is sort of the one that they would make most often. I guess, I don't know if they would call it like a flagship beer or not, but it's definitely the closest thing that they would have to a flagship beer. All Citra hops. Look at that. Look how good it looks. Super creamy. I know that their brewer, Bebo, was saying that he thinks this is the best version to date. Yeah. Yeah. So it's all, it's real citrusy, real creamy. Just like a gorgeous looking beer. It's great.
Sean's curious, how do you find the breweries that you like, or do you just sort of take road trips once in a while?
Yeah, that's a good question because I feel like I talk to so many people throughout the day about beer, whether it's like customers who are excited about things or brewers who are excited about things or just people in the industry, you know, talking about things. And so I feel like I have like sort of a good sense of what is happening in the Ontario beer community. And then I'll get samples from breweries. Like a lot of people just drop beer off. Bill, I'm sure you've, you know, experienced that, but I'd say every week, you know, I probably get, I don't know, a 6-pack, a 6-pack or 12-pack of beers from people just coming by hoping to get stocked in the fridge. It's sort of that always doesn't really go so well. I find that a lot of the places that are trying really hard to sell me their beer aren't making beer that I'm very excited about. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of relation there, but I mean, like a place like Bellwoods, who makes consistently great beer and has for, you know, the last decade or so, they aren't knocking on doors. You know what I mean? They're not saying, hey, sell my beer. It's more of a, if you want to sell my beer, you know where to find us kind of thing. And so that's kind of what I find is the situation with most of the good breweries, is that you just kind of need to hear about them and reach out to them. Yeah. And there's certain things that you'll hear that just pique your interest, right? Like, let's say Slake in Prince Edward County, like when I heard they were opening and making table beer, I was like, that sounds really exciting for me. So I'm going to pay attention to that. And so that's just that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a little bit of dialogue going over in the chat bar about what a fantastic job to have where people give you beer.
Yeah, well, you guys, if anyone shows up in the next hour, I'll give you some sample cans, okay? I'm here. Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to get, you know, free beer or whatever, but a lot of the time it's fucking garbage. Sorry.
We'll edit that part out, okay?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
I shouldn't. Sorry.
No. I just.
I'll be better.
There's a couple of people that said if they didn't have commitments to their kids, they'd be right over to see you.
They should be sleeping. Go on. They don't know you're gone if they're sleeping.
Do you have time to read? What book would I find on your night table?
I think the last book I read was like some teen sci-fi. It was Ready Player 2, the sequel to Ready Player 1. I read that one. I don't know. I probably finished it in August, and I haven't picked up another book since. But yeah, it was wild, like reading that book. And then I don't know if you guys have watched Mark Zuckerberg's like hour-long video about the metaverse. You guys know about the metaverse? It's crazy, right? So I don't know. That book was like the precursor to Zuckerberg going off about his alternate reality that will undoubtedly destroy us all.
We could talk about that. You imagine selling beer in the metaverse?
Yeah, it seems like just an exercise in stupidity. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around the metaverse. It's been causing me some serious internal debate.
I can well imagine. Second Life, which has been around for a long time, is a metaverse, and it's, you know, it's actually got quite a bit of traction.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like a game, right?
Actually, my wife actually did Second Life. She had to use that for one of her courses at university.
Oh. Okay.
But
yeah, I like the idea of like a VR as like a form of entertainment. Like I think like VR headset games are fun. I don't know. We're gonna go down a rabbit hole if unless you ask me another question. I'm gonna keep talking about this. I don't want to.
Okay. I'm curious about your social marketing. You get an Instagram account, Twitter account. How's all that working for you?
I don't know. I don't think I'm very good at it. I use Instagram mostly, and I used to post like lots of the new beers that were coming in, and I would like take thoughtful pictures of them. I feel like now I'm doing that less so. Like I felt like I was just getting like not a ton of likes on just photos of random beer. So I'm trying to incorporate more like pictures of like our staff or just like extra special, what I think are like beers I'm super excited about rather than just posting about everything. So I'm a little less frequent with my social media posts. I've noticed them like get a few more likes since I started being less frequent, but I don't know. I mean, again, it's just sort of something you have to do. It's basically Instagram, I think, drives most of our business. I think that like 90% of people who are visiting our website are getting there through Instagram, which is, you know, and then I think about how I probably have like, I couldn't tell you how many followers I have, maybe 3,000 or something like that for the beer shop. Probably not even that many. And then I'm like, well, why don't I have 8,000? And then I think the reason that I don't is because I'm not going on to other pages, followers, and following them and hoping for a follow back. It's like I'm just more so like I like building something organically rather than like being in this like business attack mode where I'm trying to like build followers and do this. I do talk to a lot of people over Instagram. Customers will send me messages and say, hey, are you getting this beer? Or hey, are you getting that beer? I don't know. But like, I engage with our customers over Instagram. I love that. I love like talking to people. And so, I mean, I do have fun with the Instagram account, but I think there's like a side of it that I am not very good at. And that would be the like building it side.
Would you even have the time to do that side?
I don't know. I'm trying to make more time to do things, to just do more things that I want to do. And with being back open, you know, we've been busier, and I don't feel the need to be here all the time at this point. So I'm going to try and focus on doing some other things. I don't think social media falls into that, like other things I want to do category, but you know, we do use it. It is very important. I'm not as good at it as I should be. And yeah.
Brian says your followers live in the universe, not the metaverse.
Yeah. Well, I've got some friends, you know, they can help me develop some sort of apps that I think that would just really suck people in and make them slaves to my business. I'd be excited about the potential there.
Now that we've been slowly reopening in the community, who would you say is your favorite craft beer bar or restaurant to go to?
I like going to Jane Bond a lot. That's my go-to. It's basically right across the street. I worked there for years and years. I met my wife there. It's like a second home for me. So Jane Bond, I love. I'll sneak out to the Gator's Tail occasionally in Cambridge. The guy who is sort of has that place, he's like a big beer nerd like I am. You know, we're both sort of, I'll see him places sometimes picking up beer and we'll talk. I think that the Gator's Tail is a good spot. Yeah, those, I mean, I don't really go too much. I mean, going places for beer is not so much on my radar anymore now that I have a beer store. I'd rather have people come here, you know, after we're closed to hang out, or go to someone's house and bring the lot, you know, I don't, with the pandemic and everything, I haven't been as social as I used to be, but you know, just like as an example, you know, we were talking about the sample beers before. In the summer, if I would go hang out with friends or whatever, I would bring coolers full of beer. And then I would just be like, hey guys, help yourself. You know, I have one rule, and that is you cannot put the beer back. So the rule is I'll bring all the beer for everyone, but you have to do a blind grab from the cooler, and whatever you get, that's what you have to drink. So that's it.
And randomly interspersed amongst all those beers is a couple of cans of Coors Light.
Yeah. Yeah.
One more time. He's doing.
Oh, I think we heard Bebo there for a sec.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and then I'll go to Arabella as well. That's my kids love going to Arabella. My 7-year-old will say, Dad, can we go crush a burger at Arabella? To which I will always reply yes, if it makes sense. But yeah, so I do enjoy going to Arabella as well, I'd say. Them, Jane Bond, Gator's Tail. Those are my favorite places to go for a beer. Yeah.
Okay. Tooth and Nail. Fortitude.
Tooth and Nail. Fortitude. All right. All right. This pace. You're swift. Be right back. Hello?
I'm here.
Hey, sorry. Okay, Fortitude. All I can say about Fortitude, it's Kat from Short Finger's favorite beer. She knows what she's talking about. So, you know, there you go. Real oaty stout, real easy drinking. I've heard it referred to as the Pilsner of stouts. It's just like no fuss. You know, I love drinking like crazy imperial stouts that are like sticky and sweet and 14% alcohol. But you don't want to do that all the time. And I could drink Fortitude all the time. So that's why I like it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yeah.
Who's your favorite new up-and-coming brewer?
I think Fine Balance is making some really good beer. They're based out of Kingston. they've like, I've had some sort of hobby beers from them where I've been like, damn, it's very good. It's a very good beer. They make some really popular like sour beers as well. I have a West Coast IPA coming from them this week that I'm super excited about. I think that Fine Balance is good. I think they just had like their 1-year anniversary. They're based in Kingston. They're not doing anything like too crazy, but like really well-made beer. Yeah, I'm into what they're doing. Yeah, that would be. I just gotta turn around here and see what am I missing. You know. Oh, I keep putting in personal orders from a brewery called Still Fields. They are in Meaford, Ontario, and it's like mostly saison, grisettes, and lagers. That's it. Everything they make is goes through oak barrels at some point. They're really crazy. Super tiny spot. Their head brewer is Owen Roth, who was the former head brewer at Bellwoods for several years. And so Stillfields opened like at the end of the summer, maybe. And it's really small batch, like sort of like clean, yeah, saison and grisette, everything in oak. That's a very exciting brewery for me.
Yep. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Geez, there's some nuggets out there. When I worked at Jane Bond, my boss said to me, if you've got time to lean, you've got time to smoke. And so that was always, that was a piece of advice that stuck with me, you know? I don't smoke, but I always really liked that. Advice, jeez. I don't know. I think that like, when I like, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, a lot of what helps inform like my decisions for what I want to do comes from better understanding what I don't want to do. You know what I mean? So it's like I'll watch other businesses or other breweries or other people, and I'll be like, I'm not down with that. I don't want to do that. And so I learn more from what I don't want to do. Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to like pinpoint some sage words that I've received, but yeah, those are sort of some things that come to mind.
I have to jump back. I missed one from Jen a ways back. She wanted to know, and you may have answered that with your favorite up and coming brewers. In your fridge right now, what's your favorite beer?
In my fridge right now?
What would be your favorite beer?
Oh, this it's a coffee stout from Third Moon. Each piece to God. It's like they've made this beer before, right? Each piece to God. It's like a regular sort of like double stout series that they make with different coffee variants in it. This one has like geisha coffee in it, and it's so expressive, and it's like just I can't like stop drinking it when I pour it in the cup. I'm just like, damn, that's delicious. Damn. I think that beer is like incredible. So I love that. No Worry Extra Sticky Edition. It's like one that I kind of have in the fridge often. It's a saison from Sonnet Hill with wildflower honey from bees from their farm. What else? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Everything else is garbage in there right now.
I don't buy that at all, but okay. Sean's curious.
Yeah.
How many?
No, I mean, I could go on and on. It's just, it for me, like the beer is, I just enjoy, I'm sure everyone here is like, depends on the time and the setting, what you're drinking and when you're drinking it, where it's like, that could become the best beer you've ever had. Like for me, I've been busting my ass all day. So when we sat down here and we cracked that Heart Lake Pils from Sonic Hill, I was like, this is the best beer in the fridge right now because I really want a beer right now. And, you know, so it all depends. I think that everything, I could talk about how 85% of these beers are good and that I really like them. And then 15%, maybe I'd be like, you sure? You sure you want that?
Okay. Sean's curious, how many other bottle shops do you know of that are doing something similar to you, which is such a curated beer selection?
I know of a few. Well, okay. I basically know of like all of them in Ontario because I pay attention. And there's some that I think are amazing and some that I do not think are good. There's a place in Barrie, it's called the Wheeled Brew. Super tiny place. I think you can seat like a handful of people in there. That guy who runs that shop, his name is Evan. He is great. He's like me. He's driving around to all the breweries. The guy's bringing beer to Barrie that you would not get if he weren't putting in the work, you know? So I love what he's doing, the Wheeled Brew out in Barrie. Great shop. One of the first shops that caught my attention is in Toronto. It's called 4th and 7. Just like you walk in there and it's wall to wall beers. So you get, it's sort of overwhelming because they have like hundreds and hundreds of options. Great shop, but for me, like they don't keep everything in fridges. So it's like if I go in there as a who I am, if I walk in and I see beer that should be in a fridge sitting on a shelf, it bugs me a lot. Like I get very upset because if you have a hoppy beer or an IPA or, you know, that a brewer has put time into making, and this is we've packaged it, here you go, this is the product. And then I were to just keep that sitting on a shelf and not in a fridge, like after 2-3 days, a week, longer than that, it's not the product that the brewery intended to put out. So you're doing a disservice to both your customers and the breweries you're trying to support. So I can't get behind that at all. I think that as independent bottle shops, like we should have like high standards for how we treat our products. And that's, you know, I'm sure a lot of you will talk about the LCBO and you'll be like, yeah, you know, the term shelf turd, right? It's like when you go to the LCBO and you see an IPA just sitting at room temp and it's dated from, you know, what are we now, in November? And you pick up an IPA and it was canned in July and you're like, oh, okay, so this is old and it's been sitting at room temperature and nobody cares, right? So for me, as like an independent shop, it's like we need to have higher standards, right? We need to be able to set ourselves apart from other alcohol retail locations. And for me, the biggest way to do that is to like have an emphasis on quality and make sure that we're taking care of stuff. And the only issue with that is that most of the customers who are going to LCBO aren't thinking about that. They don't know or care about that. So we're niche, right? But that's like very, very important to me. Yeah, I don't know. There's some good bottle shops. There's some bottle shops I don't like. That's it. Yeah. But they, you know, you do see more and more of them. And I think for me, it's easy to see who is like, oh, well, we'll put a little shelf here and we'll sell collective arts or whatever. You know, we'll sell, I don't want to like say, but it's like you can tell when there's someone who actually gives a shit about beer versus someone who's like opening a bottle shop because it's cool or whatever, right? It's like there's a clear distinction there. It's very obvious to me, maybe not to most, maybe just probably to you guys, I don't know, but
to people who understand beer, it's obvious who's doing a good job and who isn't doing a good job.
Yeah, I think so.
I have one last question for you. And now I've got to find it. Yes. Would you share with me your funniest beer story? Well, you don't want to, I understand.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think that like when you think about funny beer stories, like you kind of can like go down like this, where you're talking about what bad things happened to you because of that beer, or how a horse ate your puke that you know, whatever, right? You go on like that.
We'll save it for when I go off the record, okay?
Yeah, I don't know. Funniest beer story, like, I don't know. I think that like most really fun things, you know, happen when you're with your friends drinking beers, right? And so I think that ultimately, like, my favorite thing to do is sit around and drink beer with my friends, and those are the best moments. So I've had plenty of great laughs. It's hard to pinpoint one, but I think that, you know, that's what beer is all about.
Marc, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your stories with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Remind everybody, Jess from Annapolis Brewing is on next week. I don't think he realizes the time zone change. I'm going to be reminding him tomorrow.